You ever been in a situation where you felt uncomfortable? Maybe your weird uncle is staring at you awkwardly at the family get-together. Maybe you're stranded on the side of the road in the middle of nowhere. You ever get the feeling that something's just not right and there's something sinister afoot? In Scary Movie, these situations are taken to the extreme and your paranoia turns out to be true. Yes, there's a ghost living in your house causing all sorts of panic. Yeah, your weird uncle is part of a death cult. Yeah, that guy following you is trying to murder you. In Jordan Peele's directorial debut, Get Out, the situation ripe with uncomfortable feelings, awkward moments, and paranoia is a sort of racism that's never really touched on enough. Get Out is about a guy named Chris who's going to visit his girlfriend Rose's family at their house. The catch? She hasn't told her white parents that her boyfriend is black. Hilarity ensues, or in this case, awkward interactions with the parents and their guests in the form of that kind of racism. You know, the kind where that white guy says shit like, I would have voted for Obama a third term. It's that subtle uncomfortableness that a black person might feel when surrounded by rich white people. Or not even really racism, just when people lack that sort of awareness that what they're doing is treating people different or acting weird when facing a black person or talking about racism. Except this is a horror movie, so it turns out that uncomfortable feeling is more than just paranoia. And that was something nice about the movie. But that's about it. Racism is used as nothing more than a storytelling element. When the movie gets down to the horror aspect of it, it does it so well I'm surprised this is Jordan Peele's first movie as director. The first half of this movie is set up in suspense. The movie gets you invested as you try to figure out just what's going on. Being directed by one half of the comedy duo, Key and Peele, this movie is also pretty humorous. There's even one character who in most horror movies and such you would hate, but serves a purpose and is actually funny. The horror in Get Out is not the kind of scary that most modern horror movies do. It's not overly grotesque, it's not found footage, and it's not about playing loud noises at opportune times. None of those shitty attempts at scares. The horror is more psychological and suspenseful. I was vastly engrossed in this movie, and by the end of it I was rooting for the hero to escape this nightmare. If there's any small criticism I can levy at Get Out, it's that it has one or two of those stupid moments. There was one part where someone walked behind the character and a little chord played, even though it didn't really go anywhere and the main character doesn't even see it anyway. Luckily, it was a small thing, they didn't really do it more than once, which the movie is better for. Many of you might think you know what's going to happen based on the trailers, and I thought I knew what the big reveal was, but there's actually more to it than they show you. The last half of this movie is your typical escape from the house scenario, but it's great all the same. The movie also takes the time to set up scenes for plot devices so that you go, oh, that was clever, or ah, that's what that was for, when something happens instead of, well, that came out of nowhere, such as the use of a camera flash. Get Out is one of the few horror movies I've seen and actually enjoyed. This is an impressive outing for Jordan Peele's first time as director. Just to put this in perspective, horror scare movies aren't really my cup of tea. Maybe it's because I don't like being scared. Maybe it's because a lot of the cheap, shitty movies people try to make a quick buck off of are usually scary movies. But at the end of Get Out, I was literally and physically clapping in the theater. It will be interesting to see where Jordan Peele goes next. Hopefully he doesn't go downhill from here. 5 out of 5 stars, don't miss this one.
See, I grew up in a very mixed race environment. I had tons of friends of color, so I never really saw this myself personally. I grew up in a very all-inclusive family that believed that everyone is people. We're all human and like it doesn't matter. And I still feel that way. And I'm really, really grateful for that upbringing because I've since learned as an adult that that's rare. So seeing a film like this can sometimes get under my skin because I genuinely don't understand racism. And it's just because I never was really exposed to it on a full scale. So when I see it in movies like this, I have a hard time connecting with it.